Alrighty, welcome everybody. All right, oh man, this is so odd to me to see one, just one person. I'm gonna switch it back to gallery. Ha! Even if it's just for the sake of, I know it's easier sometimes when you're listening back to the replay to just see the speaker, but we're just gonna do this. So welcome to April. I'm really excited, you guys. April's gonna be awesome. It's the end of convention contest. Um, Actually, I would love for you all to message me privately and let me know where your convention contest credits are. I'm still waiting on a report from Jennifer. So until she gets that over to me, I would love to know where your credits are, especially after commission's processed. So we should see an update or a bump in those if we haven't yet. Welcome to April. I am really excited. I'm going to share with you guys a few things that I'm super duper excited about. But we were just sharing some wins and learns. So if you're just hopping on, go ahead and throw them in the chat. I want this accountability call. I want you guys to feel like you have the freedom to share like what's going well, what's not going well, and for us to like share collectively as a community and learn together. And I don't ever want this to just be like a monologue of me talking. Although I do have some things to share with you because I am excited about some things I've learned recently. So Amber was just talking about doing a reel a day on Instagram. That's something that she's committed to this month. And she mentioned ChatGPT. She was talking about freeing up the brain space. And I literally just thought about this. And I know Madison, we talked about this maybe last week or 2 weeks ago or something. But if you're not using ChatGPT, highly consider getting it because it can make your posts so much better. You can get stuff done so much faster because you're not having to think all your thoughts, get all the words. And I know all of us are busy moms doing all the things, and there is a limit to our bandwidth. And some days are better than others. And you can still make totally organic dream up your own posts. That's totally fine. But on busy days, it's kind of like the Rally Chat. I mean, it's way better than Rally Chat, but Rally Chat is great if it's just like, I got to get a testimony posted, boom, done, moving on with my day, right? But ChatGPT is just like huge up level. It can even up level your own responses. You can type in questions to ChatGPT from your customers. And Lisa Winters, I was on a call with her the other day, and she was just saying, oh, that was yesterday. That seems like a long time ago. She was just saying that the responses that ChatGPT gives are so great. She's like, it actually makes me sound smarter than I even am. And I don't know that it's smarter, but it's just like a really well-rounded, beautiful answer, or questions with perspective, good health advice mixed in. It's like, and I saw an example of one. I was like, wow, that's incredible. Like, and this is the thing, is like, not all of us, and maybe most of us, or maybe none of us are like the Brooke Hemingways, where huge medical background, or the Brooks, where Brooke's not on yet, but you know what I mean? Like, not all of us have that perspective or have a huge 10 years of experience helping customers. And so that's where that ChatGPT can come in so helpful. Does anyone have anything to say about ChatGPT before we move on? That wasn't really what I was going to talk about, but
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, where are you? There you are.
Me?
I see you. Uh-huh.
All right. I would just say the idea is go in there and put in your ideal client. Like maybe it's a mom who's staying at home, who gut health, like sugar cravings, like type all of that in. And that way your posts are geared towards that person. So it's important to do that. So that way your ideal client, your stuff is all written towards your ideal client. And you can even put in like the tone you want it to have. I want this to be uplifting. I want this to be funny. I want this to be serious. Like it will switch it around. You can ask it what music would go great with it. You could ask them for images. You can make yourself into a puppet, right, Angie? You can do all the things. So type in your ideal client, tell them that's what it is, and then it's for helper your post.
Question. So when you do that, like you just do it once and then it remembers you and all your things. Are you doing that? Okay. I'm very new to it.
Well, with the paid version, do you have the paid version, Amber? So if you have the paid version, it's $20 a month, very well worth it. You can literally have it create anything you can imagine. You can upload your posts in there so it can get your voice. It can do a voice blueprint for you so that it knows you. It can categorize and file everything for you so that there's individual files that stay there. I had the unpaid version for a while. But then when I wanted to do like lead magnets or ebooks or things like that, it literally will create all of that and save it in a specific file for you. And it's getting to know like the blueprint of my voice, the way that I talk. So that's just not like throwing out random stuff. And then people be like, that doesn't even sound like her.
Yeah.
And you can tell it to ask you 10 questions to get to know you better. And it'll ask you all these questions and you just talk to it like back and forth. And I was going to say something else too. Did you say that and I missed it? Sorry, I'm trying to keep a baby quiet over here.
No, Madison, do you pay for yours or do you just do the free?
I don't pay for it, but I'm going to start paying for it. But whether you pay for it or not, it remembers you and it like memorizes you. Like if you don't go sharing this, but if you read my posts, they're all ChatGPT.
Okay, so are you just using the website? I know a lot of people suggest the website over the app. Do you guys have
I use
preferences?
the app. It's on my phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
it'll even create a menu plan for you. Just FYI, if you don't have brain space for a menu plan, type it in. Type in your macros that you need. Type in the menu plan for your family. Go with it. Type in your allergies, all the things.
You can also tell it to become a social media expert and then go in. So like for mine, I put become a social media expert and find out 10 fears. I don't remember all three. I said 10 10 of fears, desires, and something else of young moms with their health and finances, because that's my target audience. And it spit it out to me in a chart, and then it told me what to post about each one of them. So it's pretty amazing.
Does it scare anybody?
No, doesn't scare me. But of course not. But the other thing I would say is you really need to make it your own. It's kind of like when we copy and paste someone else's post, like that's all great and dandy for a moment, right? But the algorithm does know when you're copying and pasting, and you want to be your authentic self. So
Yeah.
I'm not like I'm using it, but I have spent time going in helping my new friend understand me, know me. Like he calls me Nani now. Every time I'm on, he's like, hey, Nani. Like he recognizes me as Nani because I told him that's my grandma name. And so that's how he refers to me. But like, I just have gone through and told him, so much about my family and just different things like that, so that it's really more of my voice. And once you get the whole blueprint done, which I'm not even finished with that, but that helps a lot too. And one tip that Brooke gave us this weekend, or this last week when we were gone, is that I don't know how this works with the unpaid version, but with the paid version, if he spits out something and I needed to edit something, I ask him to edit it instead of me copying and pasting it where I want it and then editing it, because then he'll keep posting that, he'll keep spitting out things like that. And I don't want it like that. I want him to know my voice and the way that I talk and the words that I say. You know what I'm saying? So it's that heartfelt piece that's me. That's not anyone else.
Yeah.
So every time now he's like, do you want this a little more sassy? I'm like, he totally knows me, right? He knows I need a little sass.
But Auntie, do you say thank you? Because I say thank you. I'm like, oh, that was great. Thank you. And my kids are like, Mom, it's a computer. I'm like, no, you always use your manners.
Yeah. Always. I do.
I was
There's
like,
a
"You're
thumbs
welcome."
up. So I do that. And then I do, thank you. This was so great. I tell him the things that I like, as if I'm talking to a person. Because I've heard that's really the best way for them to like interact with you.
So interesting. This is to me just a way to work smarter, not harder. And it would make sense for all of us that want to scale our businesses that we would offload. It's kind of that John Maxwell concept where do, delete, or delegate. And this is, in my mind, it falls under the heading of delegation. And the beautiful thing about this is you know, a lot of, well, not all about it, a lot of us, some of us have been on social media for years and years, maybe even decades. And so maybe you have your conversational tone honed. And even if whether you do or whether you don't, the bottom line is ChatGPT can make the process just faster. So like you can pop in what you're wanting to say and it's gonna like send it. And then even if you have to edit it to make a few tweaks to make it a little more your own until it learns you better, I mean that's not the end of the world. But it can really help you up level your posting. And I think, you know, Amber's doing a challenge. A lot of you guys did Lori Harrison's Facebook challenge or algorithm wake up last month. And so the point even that she's been talking about is like the posting needs to be genuine and authentic in you. And like literally use voice text when you're making a post. This is maybe a side tangent to ChatGPT, but like if you have an idea on your brain, like voice text it into like as a post, and you're gonna get a cute picture of you. Tweak it, of course. You can go back and not after you post it, but you can edit it even as you're voice texting. But what Lori's talking about is like use a conversational tone. And the longer I go, I'm like, you know, I do think that social media is somewhat of an art, and we can all learn to get better at it. It's a creative outlet, right? And it's sharing our life, sharing what we love. And so it would make sense for us to like be wanting to up our game, to hone our craft with social media. If you have not done Lori's Facebook challenge, it's not going to hurt you to do it. And if you don't have bandwidth and you have like completely different goals this month, I'm not telling you hook, line, and sinker you have to go do it, but consider doing it. I have not done it yet, but I want to do it because I think it would only help me to wake up my algorithm. And Carissa and I have had some back and forth about it and how much she's seen like other people's posts. She said for a while it just felt like I was seeing Plexus people, I was seeing my family and people on my team. and she was like, I feel like I'm wasting my time to create all this content and then it's just getting preached to the choir essentially. So super interesting. Also, I was going to say something else about that. Anyways, if you have not done that, consider putting it on your to-do list at some point because connecting is super important. Networking. Oh, that's the other thing is she said she ended up getting connected with a Doctors' Wives of Little Rock group. And she's like, that is gold because it's connecting her with other like people in her situation, similar life stage and life circumstances. And she's friending them like crazy. And so I think if you're on a networking frenzy, like a networking season in your business where you're really making a ton of connections, you're friending a lot of people, what Lori's teaching is really good because she's helping us wake up our algorithm, but also post in a way that's like going to be attractive to everybody in our network and in our news feed. And it's not just like Plexus post after Plexus post after Plexus post that's super salesy. Anyways, not to beat a dead horse, but consider that. Also, raise your hand if you dare, if you have not listened or read the Get Over Yourself book. Did anyone not do that last month? I caught the last 4 chapters because that's what I was teaching on, honest moments. I've actually read the book twice at least, actually probably more than that. But the first time I read it was probably in 2019, January. And I was already diamond and I read it twice in a month. It was so good. And Carissa's like, I don't know. She goes, I've never read this book before. And she's like, it's so good. So it's one of those things. It's like the Build to Last. It's a network marketing specific book. And I feel like if we want to succeed in this industry, we have to know the playbook. We need to understand the industry. And Romy does a great job. Now, do I agree with everything in the book? Not necessarily, but there's more than one way to do things. Carissa and I were kind of having a conversation back and forth about how she prospects. Like she will pop a message out and say, hey, I want to pick your brain on something. And then she picks up the phone and they chat on the phone. And then she presents her business opportunity. And if they're not interested, it's like, hey, no worries. Who do you know? And then she basically cold contacts their people, which is a super interesting way. I was like, I just don't know that I don't feel like I would feel comfortable with that. But she's like, it does make sense how she built an empire so fast because she was business, she was to the point, and she was willing to contact anyone and everyone and make the calls. But when I told Carissa, I'm like, well, I feel like what I do now, not when I started, it was just kind of it was a rodeo, like I don't know, a rodeo. It was just let's see who would like to try these products. Let's see if anyone wants to share, just kind of throw it out there, right? Scatter the seed. But now way more strategic, and I want to sign up business builders. I'm not opposed to customers, but at this point in my business, I want people that want to do this business with me. And so I just told her my pivot there would be twofold. One, I wouldn't have a problem texting my warm market closest friends, hey, I want to pick your brain on something. That feels organic and natural to like my close circle of girlfriends. That doesn't feel weird to me. That does feel weird to me if it's someone I don't know very well and I'm just like randomly messaging them after 20 years of not talking to them. Okay, so I think her building her business from the get-go, maybe she had a really large warm market and she had a lot of connections with people, and that worked obviously for her. For me, what I was chatting with Carissa about was like, I feel like the funnel or the filter, maybe the filter before that, hey, can I pick your brain on something, would be to directly ask them if they'd be open to a call. So to me, that would be the little pivot of how Romy did it, would just be like, still directly contact them, but it would be through a message that they know what I'm gonna pitch to them before we have hop on the call. And it's not just like blindside, hey, I'm starting a network marketing business, So anyways, all that to say, if you haven't read that book, get it on Audible and start listening to it this month. It's my challenge to you rubies, soon to be emeralds and diamonds on this team. So basic network marketing knowledge and skills and just reminders. It's like anything, right? I'm rereading a marriage book, and it's so good. It's so good. It's one of those things too, or when I'm like reading a child training book, it's just like it gets me focused on like the essentials, the basics. Am I doing those things, right? And so that's how I feel about like a basic network marketing book. It's good to read a couple times a year, even as a ruby, even as an emerald, even as a diamond, right? So anyways, not to beat a dead horse. Now, next, so per my call last week, is my challenge was to print out and this was on the Tuesday call actually, because we didn't have a call last week actually, did we? Ta-da! Don't shoot me, but this will help you. I can send you the link to these sheets. They're just free print offs. But basically, if you don't have, and this was what convicted me about well, it was one of the 4 chapters of last week, is if you don't have your protected plexus hours scheduled into your week, you need to. Okay, if you expect to be a jewel diamond in the next year or 5, you got to log the hours. I don't know how else to say it. And what I was especially convicted about, which a lot of our business can be nook and cranny. Praise the Lord for that, right? Because we're busy. Like there's a lot of things we're doing. But if you don't have, especially specific time where you're prospecting for your business, that's like the lifeblood. So if you don't have new people coming in, like level 1 specifically, and I would just encourage you to keep recruiting. Keep recruiting. Don't stop recruiting. Your current team is amazing, but we're going to build on top of that. And like Laura was saying, build your 2025 team, right? New people, new blood, new duplication, and new people that are going to say yes. And the thing that I noticed about last month, 2 things, because I have not carved out protected plexus hours, guess what? It was really stinking hard to sign 6 people. It just was. And if you have time carved into your week, that is a non-negotiable, even if it's once a week for 2 or 3 hours where that's your focus for that time, that's going to compound and you're going to see fruit after a period of time. Okay. And so, anyways, that was tricky for me, but that's the reason why, because I've been kind of nook and crannying that, and which means inconsistent with my personal prospecting. The other thing is I'm so used to saying no or hearing no that when I heard yeses to sharing with my new customers that I just signed last month, I was shocked, but I knew what to do. So I want to remind you guys that of all the people that you're going to ask, you will hear, the majority will say no, and that's normal. That's fine. And that doesn't mean anything about you. It just means that they're not ready at this time, and that doesn't mean anything on you or that they won't ever. They might down the road, right? But 2 of the 5 people that I signed last month, when I asked them if they were open to sharing, they were like, sure. And I was like, oh, PLP. PLLP. I gotta work on the next step. So these girls, I immediately had to make a post. I was like, okay, well, if you are totally open for sharing, like let's make a post. Let's just see. Let's just see what happens. And so I just want to remind you to PLLP with every single person. Try it. You're gonna filter through lots that are gonna say no. They want to see results first or whatever, and that's fine. But then there's gonna be some that say sure. And you're gonna help them make a post, then the list, then the PLL post list. Oh, live. If there's someone that you feel you could nudge them to go live, do it. The pivot to that obviously is host a little event and they go live in the event. Or live in their stories, however it works. Brandy was one that really felt comfortable live in her stories. I was like, perfect, do that. I've gone live with people before at my house. I'm like, you're scared to go live, just come over, bring the kids over, we'll go live together. I have also done like where they invite me on to their live and we do like a good 10-15 minute back and forth, just kind of sharing our Plexus stories. So however that looks, and then a party. And what I would do personally is host a little online event and then funnel everyone in to either the Monday or the Thursday. So like host it a half an hour before our Monday or Thursday call. And then everyone that they invited can be invited to that Zoom and they can pop on the Zoom, maybe win a prize. And they've just vision casted through a third party for that demographic of people that they're sharing with. So just kind of a side tangent on the reminders there. So what I want you guys to do. Oh yeah, go ahead, Ange.
So I was listening to one of the calls that Carissa, I think it was the one that, I don't know, one of the calls that Carissa did. I listened to 2 of them today. And she was talking about how when you ask someone to post, if they say no. So I wrote down the verbiage. She said, if you ask them and they're saying no, they say, if not for you, would you do it for me? Because I run my business off of referrals. Because I mean, they could still say no, but chances of them, when you put it that way, because if they have any yellow personality in them, then maybe they're going to say yes, because you're asking them for help essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a girl that I signed last month. She had joined me like a year ago. And when the sale came out, she wanted to order. And I was like, oh my gosh, she hasn't ordered since like 10 months. Let me add her again. And before, she never wanted to post. So I asked her, I was like, hey, would you be opposed? This was last week. Would you be opposed to making a post and just telling how the product helped you before, but then you went off of them, so you're starting again? She said, yes, let me wait till they come in. So after I heard that from Carissa today, I went back to her because she hasn't made the post yet. And I was like, hey, did you get a chance to make that post? She said, not yet because I've been busy, but I will. But I had that on the tip of my tongue that I was going to say to her in case she came back with a, like a reservation. I just thought that was good and worth sharing, since you were just talking about asking them to make a post.
Can I?
Yeah, I just brought that up because sometimes people will put up a little opposition, and it's good to have something kind of in your back pocket. The other thing is, if they say no and you feel like it's a hard no and you can't slip like a little caveat in, like, well, would you do it for me? And it maybe depends on your relationship with them too and how well you know them. But I always take that with a grain of salt, because then a day or two later, I'll just be like, hey, shoot me a picture of your products. Did you get them yet? And then I'll ask them again, like, hey, and I'll frame it. If I know that they're kind of hesitant about posting, I'll just frame it in a way where I say, hey, would you be willing to post that? And tag me, like do a little shout out to me for sharing these products with you. Tag me and like, let's just see what happens. And a lot of times I'll send a little verbiage that they can say, so that it's literally framed towards thanking me. It feels kind of weird, a little bit weird from our end. Sometimes we're like, can you thank me? But it feels really organic and natural on their end, if that makes sense. Because they're basically just doing a little thank you shout out to us, really. But
Hey.
Yeah.
I heard something I heard you say, and I just wanted to give a little tip really quick. Sorry, I'm like folding clothes, so my computer's on my bed. So when people tell you that, oh, I just want to see my results, this is something I tell everyone, because I'm actually in the middle of this right now with myself. As I've gone through one weight loss journey, had another baby, now I'm on another weight loss journey. I always tell people, I'm like, well, that's great that you want your own results first, but do you really think people only want to see the end result? Like when you were watching me, did you just want to see the end result or did you want to see the whole journey? And I explained to them like health is a journey, it's not a destination. So like there's not going to be any point where you've just arrived and now you can share. Like I always, and this is what I tell my team, like I highly recommend that you say something like, yeah, but people want to see the journey, not just the end result. So that's something you can that's a way to kind of handle that objection. And sometimes people don't respond at all to that, or sometimes they, do. So you just never know. And on that note, Maylee, my Ruby, one of my rubies, I asked her for 2 years to share, and she told me no, 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 no. Now she's going for senior ruby. So you just never know.
That's
On
so
that note,
true.
with that verbiage,
Mhm.
I don't think Madison used that verbiage on me until I was already personally sharing for myself, or if she did, it didn't resonate. I don't think she asked me to share for her though. But the verbiage about people want to see the whole journey, that's the part I'm talking about. So I was already sharing for myself, and I was a few people away from going gold when she said that to me. And that's the verbiage that I needed to hear to be able to ask other sharers to share. So that's how I got Candace right off the bat. I already had, what is it when you're gold? I probably had between 10 and 15 people that had like literally just signed up within that month. And I was like, hey, you don't have to do this. It sounded really authentic to me. You don't have to do this. I know I didn't share when I first started and but Madison just told me this, and people want to see that journey and they didn't get to see my beginning point, but now they're reacting, and they have like that verbiage plus everybody's got 60-day money back guarantee. Like to me, that mentally made sense.
What I think my pod just died. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's what allowed me to ask people to share. And they did.
So question to piggyback off of that, what if like you have somebody on the products and you're kind of like, okay, I think they could share, might have interest in sharing, but they're saying that their people are saying that, like their friends are like, I want to see how you do first. So what if it's kind of flipped? What do you suggest?
I would say still share. They probably just need to talk to more people because probably only 2 people told them that. And they probably need verbiage to know what to say to those people. And so I would just nudge a little bit and say, go back and ask them if they'd be willing to try it with you. And we do the journey together. And tell them that there is a 60-day money back guarantee. So if for some reason they didn't love it, they're not out anything. And you can say, I'll cover the shipping if for some reason they want to send it back after that time period. But I think the idea is we've got to keep putting a little nudge, not in a weird way, but or just give someone an idea of what to say. And I think that like what Madison and Mary were sharing about too is like offering perspective. Because when people tell me they want to wait to share, I share my perspective and I tell them like,
Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Okay, I'm going to add a couple things. Can you guys hear me? Okay. 2 things I would say. Number 1 is it really doesn't matter what your results are. Everyone's going to have different results. Like I heard that very early on and I'm like, everyone has a different, like I didn't have a weight loss journey. So if I would have been like, well, I want to wait and see because I wasn't looking for weight loss, you know what I'm saying? But everybody has a different journey. So it really doesn't matter what my results are because other people are going to need other things for their body. And the second thing is like what I talked about at Gold School, we have to lead by example. So if you add Jenny and you don't ask her to share, and then later on you're like, hey, she decides she wants to work it. And you're like, okay, you've got to ask everyone to share. And then she'll be like, well, you didn't ask me to share. Like we have to set the standard with every single person so that our people will do the same. Remember when you got started, I asked you to share. maybe they don't do it right away, but eventually then they're going to remember back to the fact that, well, she did ask me. Does that make sense?
Can you guys hear me now? Or no?
Yes.
Okay, I think someone turned on AirPods or something. So I always share my perspective because I did share right away. And so even though I was very much in process, I always try to connect with them. Like, I totally get why you want to wait, but just for perspective, I had seen what the probiotic did for Ben in a month, and I just had in my brain like all the moms needed to know. And so even though my own personal health journey, I was very much in process, tons of detox. I guess I understood enough about how and why the products worked. So I started to share based on what I knew these could potentially do for people. And by my 4 to 6 month mark, when I started to have results, I had a whole bunch of people that were on the products with me, having a bunch of amazing wins. And so that has actually caused some people to share sooner because I shared that perspective with them. So I think that gives us all reminders and permission to counter their objection with a little perspective, sometimes a little nudge, like, hey, totally get that perspective, but here's another thing to think about, right? Because I feel like it's always that just little adjustment of us putting the little other perspective in there for them to consider. Because it's like they have their tunnel vision of how they see things, but it's our job to offer another perspective. And they may totally not take it and want to do what they want to do, which is fine. But it also might change their perspective and they might share a little sooner. But I think it's just a good reminder to ask everybody. Do you guys feel like you asked every single VIP? Because for a long time I didn't. I kind of profiled whether I thought someone would share or not. But make it part of your system. Someone talked about systems, or Mary was talking about household systems. Make it part of your system to ask every single person to share in the beginning. My welcome text actually has a little blip in the middle of the paragraph about sharing and earning $300 if they share with 3 friends. That's the first touch, like the soft touch. If I'm on the phone, like I was with this girl named Lindy, when I signed her up, I asked her and she said, yeah. And same with Sherry. Both of them said, yeah, on the phone. And so I'm not always on the phone with people, but I think then a follow-up voice message is also great too. But it is just really helpful for clarity's sake to find out where people are at with it. So it's good to dig in and also to go back. Like Madison was saying, so many, I was telling someone recently, there's so many level 1 gems and jewels that started sharing 1.5 to 2 years into their product journey. So you just never know. You probably have potential sharers on your team. They just aren't sharing yet. Okay, so what I want you guys to do for homework this week is screenshot your schedule. It doesn't have to be this paper, but you just need to have somewhere in your protected plexus hours. And I'm going to help you all with this because I was looking at my how I want my flow to go for my days, and I feel like it's crunched because we're in soccer season right now. And in the fall, we're in actually multiple sports, and the boys will have baseball this summer. But so, right, everyone has their version of what their crunch is, right? And so I was like, you know what? I'm not willing to give up every morning and like dive right into plexus, but I am willing to give up 2 mornings of my 7 to do that. And Thursdays it has already been like blocked because I do an 1.5-hour Jewel call. But Friday mornings, I was like, you know what? Fridays is a great day to work. And so I am going to be hosting a 5:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Sounds crazy, but this is Central Time, power hour. And I decided, those of you who know me well, I don't like power hours. Like, I just don't. But it's a power hour in the sense of you're going to bring your own work to the call. We're not going to be chatting the whole time. I mean, if y'all want to chat, that's fine. Mute or turn your volume down if you don't want to be distracted by the chitter chatter. If someone is chatting or asking a question, I'm going to carve out a 3-hour block, and you can come in for a 20-minute time, but I'm going to have my Zoom up for that chunk on Fridays for this month. That's what I'm committing to, and it will actually help hold me accountable to set my alarm and just get up and get on with whoever wants to. And if it's just me on Zoom, that's totally fine too. But I'm willing to kind of put myself in the hot seat to just get up, because others I might like to sleep in some Fridays. So, but I'm excited about that. So that's, anyways, mark your calendars if that's something that you want feel like that would be helpful to you to also get your prospecting time in as well. Side note, Keith Callahan has a $37 membership for a kickoff challenge thing that he's doing. I would just encourage you guys. I mean, our little once a week meetup is fantastic, but anytime that you can get outside input from good leaders in the industry, do it. And $37 is nothing. It's a write-off for your business. And sometimes we need to pay for accountability or more training. I mean, there's a ton of free stuff that's available, but sometimes it's like there's so much available. It's like, what do we do? And so, little plug, if that feels like something that you'd like to commit to. I know some of you are already in programs, and that's totally fine. So, just a side note. Okay. One thing that I would like to do this month is shift us a little bit to more accountability. And I was at an advisory board meeting last Thursday, and I sat with Amber Miller, Sheila Medina, Jordan Runberry, Jen Cobb, and Brittany Howard. Powerhouse women, amazing. They're fantastic. But one thing that they do consistently is they track stuff. And that's something that I haven't done a lot of myself personally. I guess I've had my own little systems for certain seasons, but not anything consistent. And I definitely haven't initiated that with people on my team to provide that sort of accountability every single day. So I was very inspired after hearing, I mean, Jen Cobb's whole team does this. So like Trisha Rieger, Marianne, Jen, like their whole team does this. That's called morning rounds. And those of you who are my level ones, I did already ask you if you want to do this with me. But I would like to initiate that this month. And I'm going to actually forward the little text into our chat. And this is actually formulated for someone with a team, right? So when you scroll down through the text, some of that might not be completely applicable to you if your team is still on the smaller side, but it's for the future, so you can edit it however you need to. But what they do every single day is they're tracking their numbers. At the top of the month, they're writing down their point projection, like where they want to end point wise. Maybe it's not a rank up month for you. What do we have? 9 ranks. So there's only 9 times in your Plexus career that you're going to rank up. So there's a lot of months that are not rank up months, but that doesn't mean you just coast. And this is why Jen's team is so successful, is because they track their numbers, they track their messages, they track so much. And so my thought is, let's start tracking. If you're not a tracker, let's start tracking. So I would like you to write down what your point projection is for this month. So what you're going to do to find your point projection is you're going to take what you ended with last month and then count up all your subscription orders and then base this month's numbers on what that would be for this month. You'll write down what you ended last month with number wise. You will make a point goal for this month, or if it's a rank up month or a re-rank month, then you'll put that down. So hopefully you guys also are following along in the chat with this. I just wanted to talk through it really quick in case there are any questions. Ads or reorders needed. So based on what you say your end of month point goal is, what's your gap, right? So you're going to subtract those 2 numbers and then divide by 5, 4 or 5, depending on how deep your team is and how many points typically, your team ads give you. And then break that down into your daily goal, right? So if you want 30 people added to your team this month, then your daily goal will be 1 a day, right? And then also knowing, this is the other thing that's so interesting about Plexus, is that it's not linear growth, right? Where it's just like we always see this curve, like always doing this. So a lot of times the ads may not be coming in super fast in the first 3 weeks of the month, and it's like boom, a bunch of those orders start coming in at the end of the month. That's cyclically how this typically works. Also because a lot of people, maybe including some of us, don't really tap in a whole lot until the last week of the month, and we're like, oh no, it's the end of the month. We got to start making some things happen. And so I think our action also starts to up level, 5 to 7 days out from the end of the month. Okay, your personal 100 PV, that's a given. Obviously, you need to make sure you have your own order in. And then your personal enrollment goal. Now, those of you who are great at goal setting and do this every month, this is not going to be new for you. You already do it. Yay, keep doing that. For some of you, maybe you don't track any of these numbers, but it's going to make us hyper focus on looking at those every single day. And Justin has done so many pep talks on goal setting and how important it is to be looking at your goal every single day, right? Okay, and then it has a little list of credit card declines, people under 100 PV, perks report, and refunds. And so you're going to crack open your back office, and these are things you're going to do every single day, first thing, when you start to work on your business. And then, so this is Brittany's kind of revamped to what Jen does with her team. And so I love that she has a list of 10 people in play for products. So this is talking prospects, right? 10 in play for the business. And you may not have 10 currently, but the goal is that you're going to have enough new conversations that you're going to get names on this. And this list may change day to day. If someone is like, no, not interested, then you take their name off the list and you're working on more conversations. And then you're going to map the orders, right? So you will map out those orders that you need, personal orders from team members. And so you're going to put like people that you're working with on your team. So let's say you have like a couple level 1 goals. You're going to put their name and maybe in parentheses put their goal for the end of the month, and maybe like you could subcategorize some of the people on their team that you work with or whatever, right? So obviously this is a little template. You can make it work to fit your team specifically. And then you'll make a little bullet point list of today's focuses. Like what are your top like 3 things that you're doing in your business? And then convention credits. And so now, once you do that and finish it, you're going to copy and paste. So this lives in the notes in your phone. And then you're going to copy and paste that once you have it tweaked for the day, edited, right? Done for the day. Or even just you did whatever, you edited that and you have your hit list for the day. You're going to send it to your sponsor, and if those of you who want to do this would rather be accountable to me, that's fine too. I don't care. However it works, or your level 1 jewel or diamond. Okay. So I think that this will be fantastic. My thought is let's try it. I want to personally try it. And so I want to commit to this. And so I'm asking you, you guys to do this with me. And let's just try it. So you're not going to be throwing this into our chat. I know sometimes it gets, I don't know, some people don't want to share their numbers and things like that. And also I think it can make our chat really chaotic. So you're going to text it or even Facebook message it each morning or whenever you finish your Plexus work to me or to your sponsor that's agreed to do this with you. And it's like a personal one-on-one accountability. So I also think we can't hide as much if we're in a chat or we can't hide as much if we're like texting someone one-on-one versus in a chat. If there's 15 people that reply, we're not going to notice the one person that didn't, right? As much as if it's just a one-on-one thing every single day. So, and then when I say every single day, I would say 5 days a week. So you can message me privately if you do or don't want to do this. And I would highly encourage it. So my thought is, what are we out? Let's try it for a month and see what we think and see how it impacts our numbers. And I think it would only have a great impact on that. All right, what questions y'all have? I'm terrible at tracking numbers, so this will be a new skill to add. You're not alone. I'm good at mapping at the beginning of the month, but not as strong keeping up throughout the month. Yeah, that's the thing is I think a lot of us are great. Like we'll get everything on paper at the beginning of the month and it's like life happens, the month rolls, we get, hamster wheeling on our Plexus stuff. And then it's like, we show up on the 28th and we're like, oh my word, what was I doing? What are my goals? Where are my points? Can we track projection and send it to sponsor or track the 10 and 10 we're talking and send it? Yeah, you would do the whole thing. Like the whole list. So Brittany did this with a sapphire on her team last month and a senior silver. And she said it went well and she's going to do it with more people on her team this month. And so obviously for a senior silver, we would edit the bottom half of that, right? Because they have 9 people, probably 8 to 9 people on their team. maybe a little less if they have some that aren't going to reorder. And so you would like crop some of that, right, for those people. Anyways, I'm super excited about it. And yeah, you just send it every morning. Yeah, level 1 orders. You can obviously you can tweak this to make it fit your goals and what makes sense. Also, in light of these calls, I would like to turn them more into accountability and tracking. And so I would like you guys to come prepared for next week with a win to share. Like everyone shares a win, like non-negotiable. Even if you don't unmute, you can at least like type it in the chat really fast to share what your win was for the week, because it gets us focused on gratitude and what's going well. And then number 2, I'd like you to actually track your reach outs, which this is going to help. Like the morning rounds is definitely going to help with that. But I would like you to track your reach outs and do a minimum of 15. And they need to be new Plexus reach outs, specifically Plexus. This is not asking your team members to share. This is not going back to old customers. That's a given. These are new conversations because it's the lifeblood of your business if you don't have new conversations going. And my goal is to get all of us on this call and in the chat, and those are who are going to listen to the recording, all of us into momentum. And that starts with us getting into gear. Okay, and then one little bonus thing that I think would be really fun is if you guys could think about 3 topics that you would love to cover in the next call. And that may mean that I pull in a guest speaker. That may mean that I pull a couple of you guys to talk about something specific, but that's something that I'd love to hear from you guys on what you'd love to hear. Okay, we have 6 minutes. So I'm going to just open it up. Who wants to say something? Who has a question? Who is like really scared about doing morning rounds and committing to that? You know, are there feelings popping up for anybody? Tell me.
I'm a little confused about the whole 10, but I was messaging somebody, so if I need to go back and watch the replay, that's fine. But I guess I'm confused on the 10 can you explain it one more time?
10 in play?
Yeah.
Oh, it just means what 10 people are you talking about currently? Talking to currently that you're either chatting about products and health with them or chat like dream team or people. So it could be, I mean, you could literally put the 10 people that you contacted this morning, the 10 people you contacted yesterday about products or business, sorry.
So are you wanting 10 different people every day? Or can they be like?
I think they can be the same as long as they're conversational with you. So maybe the first day you do it, you're going to have your 10 that you contacted about products, 10 that you contacted about the business. And then the next day, you're only going to put the people on the list that responded, that you have an ongoing conversation with. And you're going to delete the other ones until they respond back. And then maybe contact some other new people, if that makes sense. Also, to me, this is a framework. So if you get into it and you're like, this is how it's working for me, I'm totally fine with how it's working for you. But the bottom line is we need to be talking to people and new people each day. And that's something I'm personally not super strong on right now, personally, and I need to have more conversations going currently. So I feel like I'm also holding myself accountable with, having you all do it with me if you're game. So, and I feel like this is also going to bring up just conversation on these calls too. It's like, everyone's going to like trade talk on how this past week went, Would
you be okay if it was like a week? Like for me, if it works better that I'm doing this like as a weekly map, does that make sense? Or do you suggest more daily?
It needs to be daily.
Okay.
And the only thought that I had in terms of a pivot would be for those of you who have to like literally get up and rush off to work, then maybe the morning rounds would actually be better if it was nighttime, where you have your work planned and you shoot it over to your sponsor in the evening for your next day of Plexus work, if that makes sense. So if it's more of an evening round because of the shift you work or however your schedule is. But the bottom line is like every single day you're popping into your conversation with your sponsor about what you got done or what you're getting done that next day or whatever.
Can I say something quick about the daily? Just reiterating. So I'm admittedly not great on a daily basis. Okay. But but I do think it's incredibly important because, I am, an accountant at heart. And so playing in the back office, tracking, doing all the numbers is something that I actually enjoy. And I can find myself getting completely lost in doing that instead of the reach outs. So to avoid some of that, I know exactly what it takes to be Ruby. It's 3 orders a day, which
Mhm.
is, and it's 500 points divided by 30, which is 17 points a day. I can quickly see if I'm on track or not and what months I'm good at. And excuse me, that's not what I mean. When what months it's going well or it looks like it's trending well. And when I'm behind on that, which is, every month at the moment, I'm closer some months than I am, but I know it's like, hey, I'm 3 orders behind where I was at this time last month. What's going on? It forces me to look and see where the issue was. Or it's like, hey, there's more zero PV people that I can chat with. Someone seemed, you know, open to that last month, but they didn't end up ordering. I mean, that's a person that I can follow up with easily. I'm looking at my zero PV people. But April, I'm just saying all that to say that I think the daily is important because you can quickly see who may have fallen off or where a hole is before the 28th.
Yeah, 'cause it's like we're not having to wait and get all that work done the 28th and after and put ourselves in like burnout mode. It's like we're catching the credit card declines or the partial PVer or someone that like messed with their subscription and they lost their perks. I just popped another example that I pulled. I literally texted from Jordan's a chat, like an example. So I just threw it in our chat so you guys could see someone that like replied back to Jordan from her team. And so today's focus for her was opportunity call invites, 3 new reach outs, 2 follow-ups, reschedule Haley, ask 2 people to post and freaking find someone. So it's just simple like that, like you're brain dumping basically as a way of accountability.
I think that helps me because as I've kind of mentioned before to you and even like Laura said, I'm not great about new messages every single day. Like I'm a type of person that will sit down and batch out a lot of messages like in one chunk. And so I get very in my head about 10 new messages every single day. So that was overwhelming me, but I like the one that you just sent of kind of like a recap of the focuses.
I think what Brittany's map out, like the 10 in play, that's not necessarily even that you have to have 10 new conversations about products, 10 new conversations about the business every single day. It's just that I'm sure that you have people that you could put in on those lists that are still in conversation. Like they're still on your follow-up list, if that makes sense. And so the point is, and I do the same thing. Like I batch reach out. So like Friday mornings for that chunk of time, maybe not the whole 3 hours, but like for that chunk of time, I'm going to be prospecting during that time, following up with people, doing new reach outs. And so, does that make sense? Like, I don't want someone to get stuck I don't want us to get stuck in the weeds on like the actual details, like, oh, I didn't do 10 new reach outs. So am I out of the accountability? No, the idea is, are we creating new conversations? Are we following up with other people? Are we moving forward in our business every single day in some way, shape, or form? I think that's what this is providing accountability for, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
And it's like the cumulative 10 in play, 10 and well, some of this you're going to do at the top of the month and it's not going to change. Like your point goal is that's not going to change. So you're not having to like retype that every single day. But I do think having our eyeball on credit card declines, who's under 100 PV, who's in our perks, has someone returned products. So it just gets us looking at all those different facets of our business that maybe we don't look at ever, or maybe we don't really pay attention till after the 28th. And then maybe even then they don't get done because there's, life happening,
Quick question
Mhm.
is for you and Laura. Is there a quick, easy way to run a report about credit card declines and also refund returns, or is it just being aware of whose sub is supposed to come out and didn't come out?
Well, there's a subscription column, so you
Yeah.
can click on that and it'll sort it. So you can actually see, and I ran a report last month of who had an order but not a subscription. Because then that let me create a conversation with those 15 people or whatever and just said, you know, hey, you could be getting perk credits if you set up your subscription, you know, and maybe they're that, and same with the partial PVers. I think that also starts that conversation like, hey, if you order every other month, you'll actually get perk credits, you know, da, 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 and it also benefits our businesses too if they're not like partial PV every single month.
But there's not a report for credit card decline, is there specifically?
Oh, well, on the old back office, we could see if there was like
So
decline.
I
Yes,
didn't think
you
so.
just-
I think you just kind of have to eyeball who was supposed to get one and who didn't get points.
No, it's easy in the new office. It's easier in the new office because it actually pops up in red who had a credit card decline.
And it
Is it-
says declined.
But you
Uh-huh.
have
Did,
to go, but you have to go into that person to see. Like there's a way to
No.
do a list.
No, you scroll all the way to the right-hand side and you can see their order status.
Oh,
And the
perfect.
order
There's a
status will
column.
say CC decline in red.
Okay.
And if you're
perfect.
doing that
Yeah.
daily, that's, or
can
if
see it
you're
right away.
doing it, like in chunks of 10, like the 1st through the 10th, you know, the 11th through the 20th, you won't have as many.
Mhm.
But if
And
you're
that's
doing
the
it
other
daily,
thing
it's really
too. Yeah. That's the other thing too, is if you need to like chunk some of these tasks down and you know, Mondays are the XYZ days, Tuesdays is the XYZ, Friday mornings, the pop on the power hour, you have specific things that you're gonna get done. Like the idea is, even if you're not checking every single thing every single day, that you have some space in your week carved out to look at those different things, if that makes sense. If that's it. I work better at batching stuff too. So yeah. Okay, delete other columns in between their name and the CC declines. You can see it more clearly without so much scrolling. Yeah. Back office is a work in progress. We actually, most of us had early flights on Friday morning, but Sheila had to go back to the office to get her journal because she forgot it there. So she ended up, she sat with one of the tech people and went through back office stuff and just showed them like, we don't need this stuff. We need this stuff. So they are working out a lot of the kinks, by the way. I'll just share, I can't share tons of stuff about our chat last week, but I will say one of my very favorite things that we talked about is that Ashley rolled out a 3-year plan for us to see in terms of product innovation. So that was really, really cool to just see what they have kind of in the works and what she's thinking in light of that. So pumped about that. And I know at our retreat, I think that's where it was, some of the girls had just said, you know, hey, what about this product? Or what about the reset with that bar that now has nuts? So they are taking those things into consideration as we move forward with, you know, updating some of our current products to be just aware of like taking seed oils at 100% out of our products, you know, not bringing calming cocoa back with that, but with an alternative, so that there's literally cleanest of clean for the crunchiest of people. So I was really, really excited to hear about that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did this get addressed at all? Do you know, when you go into the back office and you see your new people, you cannot see who their upline is. Now, for people who only are 1 or 2 levels deep, that's not as big of a deal, but like I am having a really struggle because I don't know. And I just wonder, I know other people have asked that question. I didn't know if you guys discussed that last week or not.
Yeah, it's been addressed and I can readdress it, but it's one of those things too with, I mean, we're advisors to corporate. So it's also one of those things where you can, you know, share perspective and share what is working or what's not. And then we wait until they fix things. So, but yes, they are aware. And
It's definitely in the genealogy report when you print it. It's like the 2nd or 3rd column.
oh, okay, good to know.
Yeah.
What'd you
Well, I
say?
feel like we're all learning how to use that too.
So it's in the report when you download it.
Okay.
When you download to Excel. And then I find that's the easiest way to sort everything because I'm comfortable in Excel. But then you can see that immediately in the columns.
Mhm.
Well, my point, what I'm looking for is when all these new people are getting added every month. If Jenny is adding Julie and I have no idea who Jenny is, I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who her upline is. And another thing I noticed, and I don't know, but a lot of times it doesn't say their last name. It just gives their last initial. Wonder what that's about. Because
I know. I've noticed that too. I'll ask about that. I feel like that was also in the old back office too.
But
and
it's
that was-
random. It's like picking and choosing
Yes.
the initial.
yeah, it was super random. So I'll ask about that. Yes, yeah, because sometimes if you see like multiple people getting added at level 4, 5, 6s, and you're like, who in the world are the uplines? You know, the whole upline genealogy. It's not just a click, and you can see everybody. You're like digging every person. Yeah. Okay. Well, girls, thank you for popping on. I am really excited about April. I'm very April Hulkenbrink, but I'm excited about the month of April. And I'm excited about doing the morning rounds. I think it's going to be fantastic. And I'm excited about the power hour for whoever wants to power hour with me on Friday mornings. Bright and early, I'll have my tea and I will do my best to not be late.
Did you say 5:30 to what time?
5:30 to 8:30 is my chunk where I'm just going to have my Zoom up. I wish that we could have more admins on Zoom because I have it set, which maybe I need to take those parameters off where people can just like enter they don't have to go into a waiting room. But we were in 2020, there was just a lot of weirdness and people were like coming onto the Zoom that shouldn't be on and doing weird things. So we have it kind of some heightened security, but
Well,
I don't
you
know.
can do it so there's no waiting room that they just automatically, or you can
Yeah,
password, you can change it. But then there's a struggle with that sometimes too.
I know. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay. Well, girls, have a great week and I'll see some of you on Friday. All right. Toodles.